excited to have 9 teams this year, and many of the teams are all new. So we're really excited about that. And so we always kind of do an orientation just to provide any information to help you all get started and answer any questions or anything like that. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. So these are the teams this year. So this is the first year we have a team in the Panhandle. So we're very excited about that. So we have a team from Morrill County. And I think this is just about the farthest north we've gone. I don't know, Amy might know better than that, but Knox County, Cumming County, Boone County, 2 teams from York, a team from Fillmore County, and a team from York County. So that's very exciting. If you're not muted, just maybe a reminder to go ahead and mute so we don't get some feedback. We are recording this so that teams that are unable to participate can kind of catch up. So these are the teams that we have. We want to try to make this a little bit engaging. So if you could pull out your device, your phone or a device, and type in menti.com. We're going to ask a few questions here. So it's menti.com. And the voting code should be 270042, or you can just take a picture with the QR code there. So I have got a silver lab here that is wanting all kinds of attention. So if I seem a little distracted, that's the problem here. But I'm going to go out here to Menti. Hopefully. Hopefully it will load here. Okay, I'm gonna have to do a new share here. Oops. Sorry, it didn't work quite the way it was supposed to. Okay, are you seeing the Menti slide? Yep, okay. So again, if you are still kind of learning this, the code up here should be 270042. Hopefully everyone is able to get in. And we just want to kind of know, oh, see, we're all great. What is the thing you're most excited about the Innovative Youth Corn Challenge? And if you've never done Menti before, it's kind of cool because if the more people that type in a certain word, it kind of gets a little bit bigger and explodes there. So I'll give everyone a little bit more time just to go ahead and get logged in, but it looks like some people are excited to plant, to grow, looking maybe at the growth of the plants, experience. That's very, very good reason. Involvement is getting big. That we're also really excited about some new things that we have in store for the Corn Challenge this year, and have even more involvement with our UNL Agronomy Club, as we'll announce later. Fun. I think a lot of our teams that stick with it do have a lot of fun. Innovation, right? It's right in the name there, Innovative Youth Corn Challenge. So figuring out what are some innovative things you can do. We'll just go just a couple more minutes here and then we'll move on. You know, I got so excited, got into this. I didn't even do any introductions. So sorry about that. I'm Brandy Vandewall, Extension Educator in Fillmore County, covering 4-H youth development, and also helping out in Clay County with 4-H youth development. My coworkers and also team members, I'll let Aaron, Amy, and Lauren introduce themselves as well while everyone's getting onto the Menti. Aaron
Nygren, so Extension Educator based in Colfax County usually, but also helping cover Saunders County. So Crops and Water Educator. So looking forward to see what the teams come up with this year.
Hi, I'm Amy Zimmerman. I'm an extension educator. I'm located up in Holt County in O'Neill. Also a cropping and water educator. And just like Erin, I'm super excited to see what you guys want to try out this year.
And my name's Lauren Stolman. I apologize, my internet's being wacky. I can't do audio and video at the same time, but you get to look at a calf, so it's not too bad. My name's Lauren Stolman. I am the 4-H Extension Educator in Cass County. I'm new to this team with this corn challenge. I'm really, really excited about it and seeing what you guys all do with it.
Very good. Thanks. I can't believe I didn't even do the introductions there. I came from one meeting to the next. So, okay, so we're going to go ahead and go on. Oh, yeah, looks like some of you have already did some voting there. So, just out of curiosity, are you thinking about a career related to agronomy? So, could be entomology, pathology, all kinds of other careers, soil science. So, go ahead and answer, yes, absolutely. I would love to go into career agronomy, or no, maybe unsure, or, maybe agronomy isn't something you've thought about, or maybe some of you are really young and haven't had a chance to think about that yet. So 2, 3, 4 responses here. Not sure how many are. We're gonna, oh, there we go. 5. Okay, we're gonna move on past that one. Okay, so out of curiosity, how many of you feel confident in your abilities to do the following? And this is a slider one, so you'll have to move the slider. If you strongly disagree, you move it to the left side. If you strongly agree, you move it to the right side. So how many of you feel somewhat confident in your abilities to identify corn stages or growth, identify corn diseases, insects, weeds in the fields, and then maybe just some general scouting responsibilities, just kind of seeing who all we have on. And if you do not feel confident in any of these, that is absolutely okay, because we're going to equip you and set you up with lots of resources and skills so that hopefully by the end you will be. Is this one? There we go. Okay. Must have some good weed identifiers out there. That's awesome. That's about the highest here. So good. So we have some room to grow, and hopefully you will by the end feel much more confident in your ability to do that. So those of you that are good at weeds, you better participate in the weed identification or crops contest. Aaron's in charge of that, so that he'd love to see you participate in that. Okay, I think I got one more over here for you. Actually, 2 more. So one of the things that you hope to learn from the Innovative Youth Corn Challenge is what? And this is open-ended. So go ahead and just type something in there. So within the Innovative Youth Corn Challenge, we're going to provide you with resources so that you feel more confident in scouting for crops, in scouting corn for insects and diseases, and maybe some other abiotic or biotic problems that might be out there. But what's maybe one of the biggest things you hope to learn from participating in the challenge? Feel free to type that in there. Learning more about farming and corn in general. Excellent. How to develop another weed killer. Preparing students for a career in agronomy or production farming. Awesome. So one of the goals when we first came up with the Innovative Youth Corn Challenge, and we're in our 10th year, which we're very excited about, is to hopefully equip youth more with some of those agronomy knowledge, because we need a lot of smart agronomists and people in the future for that. How to better identify different variables of growing corn and how different things can affect the growth of corn. Very cool. So lots of great ideas there. So we're going to go on again here. Oh, I might have messed this one up here. So I guess in the chat box, if you if you've, and we know we have some returning teams. So go ahead and in the chat box, because I think I messed this up here. Maybe what's one of the biggest challenges you think that you might face with the corn challenge? And I know if you haven't participated, it might be a little difficult, but I'll give you one hint is that sometimes weather oh, there it is working. So very good. Sometimes weather, we have a lot of those different challenges. Diseases is kind of coming up there. So yeah, if you have some other ideas about that, I guess I'm glad it's working there. And if you don't know, it's totally fine here. I need to scroll down here. Okay, I'm still kind of learning Menti. So diseases, weeds, absolutely, that's always a problem. Time management with students, yep, that's one of the biggest barriers. We all get kind of busy, and we have some other plans in place that might kind of help with that. Insects came up, so very good. All some of the challenges that we've kind of seen. So hopefully we can overcome some of those barriers. So, okay, I'm going to get out of that. We'll go back to the PowerPoint. Okay, so just a couple of housekeeping items here. So my office manager today has been getting ready some kits that you will all get. And so we'll talk a little bit about what those kits will include here in a little bit. But within there is going to be a photo permission form. So if you are okay with your photo being on any promotional materials, our Crop Watch Youth website, we would like you to sign that. If you are a 4-H'er and have already done that, it's a little easier to track, but look for that in your packet. Materials that will be coming in the mail, probably she'll get them shipped tomorrow. We'll have a folder with lots of other key resources and some other things that we're going to talk about here in a little bit. But this is our 10th year, and I want to make sure that we recognize that the Nebraska Corn Board has been the sponsor since the beginning. And if you know any Corn Board members, express some appreciation, because without them, this program wouldn't be what it is today. So we'll talk today, or for the rest of this evening, we'll talk about the folder contents. Erin's going to talk about getting your plots set up. We want some questions you might have for us. We're going to talk about some of the new components to the Corn Challenge that we're really excited about. We do have a Facebook site, so please feel free to post. We like to see, what's going on in the field and those types of things. We hope to have some more YouTube videos to kind of complement things. We always have a banquet. This last year we had to do it virtual, obviously, but we usually have a banquet in January. Bring everybody to campus, have a fun speaker, and of course want to recognize all of the hard work and efforts that you all do. So what you'll be receiving is going to be a little different than what you have here, but you'll be getting your own rain gauge. So if you don't have a rain gauge, you can put it right out there in the field so you can track that. You're getting soil thermometers. Some of you expressed wanting to learn more about like the corn growth. So we have the Iowa State Corn Development Guide. We have some other tools and resources that will help you identify some other weeds, diseases, and insects as well. We're going to include our herbicide, disease, and insect guide. Those are always very helpful pieces of information. We have a really cool clipboard. Also, it does come from Iowa State, but it has the growth stage on it and some other things in there. We try to set you up with a lot of tools to get you started here. And so then some of the resources that we have, and also make sure that you go to our cropwatch.unl.edu website /youth. We do have information on there. We try to do some updates, but also in the guide that we're assembling. We have some basic entomology pieces of information, pathology, a little bit on soil fertility and weeds. For those of you in the irrigation setting, we have some of that information. Keeping it real. So one of the things we want to emphasize is whatever kind of innovative practice you have, is it actually feasible economic wise? So, will it actually pay for the treatment or something you have? So we do have some pieces of like the crop budgets and pieces that way. And of course, careers. We want all of you, if interested, to come and be involved in an agronomic career, because we need lots of good, bright young people, which I know all of you are, for participating. Also, we have kind of a participant checklist, just so you can kind of, as you're going throughout the year, check those pieces off. We have a kind of explanation of on-farm research, which Erin's going to talk about. We have a project proposal and kind of innovation explanation that we have due June 1st, but I would emphasize we're always pretty soft with our deadlines, because we really want to work with you, and we want this to be a learning experience. Really, the main reason why we have some of these deadlines is just to make sure you're all thinking about what that proposal, what it is that you're going to test, if you haven't already thought about that. We have some scouting sheets. So if you've never scouted before, there's some sheets in there that you can kind of get started, or if you have your own scouting sheets, feel free to use those. If you want to keep track of the rainfall in your field, and then also some information on growth stages. So I'm going to turn it over to Erin to talk about kind of on-farm research and getting it set up.
So hopefully, we still got some time, but hopefully you've made some ideas about what you're going to do for your control versus your check plot this year. There's always lots of ideas we could come up with, right? So one thing always to help you out, if you want to try to do some replicated randomized research, is what we'd always like to see. We do have an app. So this app, you can use it on your smartphone and tablet. So it kind of goes through how to set up a trial. So that's a nice resource you have. You can also use it to keep observations throughout your plots during the season, and then just collect harvest info at the end. So just search for UNL on-farm research app and you'll find that. So that's kind of a useful tool for you. Let's see if I've got advancing capabilities. There we go. So this is kind of the minimum that we would need for a plot. So we say that we need at least 1 acre of each of our treatment and 1 acre of our check. So this would be the basic that you would need, about 2 acres of corn. Now, the thing we always talk about with this, this is useful to look at a treatment and say, maybe the treatment yielded more than the check. The thing we can't be sure, though, in this kind of situation is if that treatment really, truly increased our yield or not, because maybe we have just that left side of the field always yields better. So we basically biased it by putting it on that side. So that's why we'd like to see multiple replications. So if you want to go to the next slide, Brandy. So this would be an example of a paired comparison. So this is one way to look at 2 different treatments. So you'll see that we repeat them multiple times. So we've got the treatment and the check. We've got 4 replications here, right? We actually do that when we harvest then each of the pairs, we get multiple replications there. So we'd actually get 7 pairs of treatments. So that really gives us some power when we look at something to say, maybe statistically this really did happen. Maybe it didn't sometimes, right? So more plots is always better than less. It just gets to be a matter of logistics, right? The more plots we have, the more time it takes, and the more of a challenge it is to harvest sometimes. So as a bonus, if you want to look at some of our protocols, we've got a lot of protocols online, and we do give bonus points if you randomize and replicate. So that's one way to get some extra bonus points at the end of the year. So we do have the On-Farm Research Network protocols. If you go to the website, so just cropwatch.unl.edu/farm research. So down below is another one of a paired comparison there, looking at 2 different products. So we also have ones that are, if you want to look at, sometimes we've had people look at more than 1 treatment. It gets it more complicated, right? You can have a randomized and replicated, which would look a little bit different as well. So just the big key thing is, really think about trying to put multiple strips out there. if you can. It just gives us a lot more understanding of what was actually happening in the field. So worst thing we ever want to do is just do one strip and say, hey, that must have worked, and then now we're going to plant the entire farm to it next year. And it really wasn't true. So this is one thing we really work with farmers to do, this replications or randomization. While you're out there, then the rest of the season, one thing is getting it planted. The other thing is, sometimes our treatments are done at planting time, sometimes they're done at other times. But when you're out there, be sure to scout, right? So take the time. And the main thing we really love to see at the end of the year is pictures, right? Take some pictures, take some notes of what you were out there seeing. That really helps us see what you guys were doing, right? Sometimes we try something and it doesn't work. Well, if we have good photos that say, you guys spent a lot of time trying this, that's really helpful for us, at the end of the season when we're getting these things judged. So take pictures, write down rainfall, write down irrigation, observations about what you saw, if one product came up faster than the other, right? So more is always better there. Then after harvest, big thing there, always take time to remember to harvest the plot the right way, right? We've had a couple cases where whoever was harvesting got busy, forgot about it, right? Took the entire field out. Well, sometimes with yield monitors, we can go back and we can find that, but a lot of times maybe we picked a different way than what we need. So make sure to take the time, get that harvest report in. Then at the end of the season, also we've got a form. It's fairly similar to the form we use for on-farm research. Kind of just you fill in what your production practices was. So when did you plant? What was your nitrogen? Things like that. So that's a good record, as well as scouting as well. Give us a little explanation of what your innovation was, why you think it worked or why you think it didn't. And then hopefully we can have the banquet in person again. So. Amy, if you want to go through these ones, I'll let you.
Well, thanks. So in your resources and online, there's, Brandy kind of talked about it already, the basic insect identification. So how do we actually take the time to identify those insects? What are parts of that body that we'd be looking at to make those decisions? And then there's a really nice reference on very common corn insects that you're going to run into, such as Western bean cutworm or corn borer, that you're going to be running into and may cause some major problems in your plots. Also, plant pathology, there's sections about basic pathology. The big thing that I want everybody to realize when we look at plant pathology is a little more complicated than when we look at the insects and the weeds. There are 3 components that we have to have for disease to actually develop. And that means we have to have a host, so our corn plant, and our pathogen that is present that can cause disease. But with all of that, it can't occur unless it has favorable environment. So a lot of times we're going to be looking at temperature and moisture availability, whether it's prime opportunity for those diseases to really pop up. And in your guide, there is information on corn disease profiles. And with all of these, whether we're looking at insects or the plant pathology portion, just keeping up to date on cropwatch.unl.edu. If there's a major outbreak of southern rust that we might be seeing moving into the area, and Dr. Tamer Jackson-Zims will be doing a CropWatch article letting you know that you probably should get out there and start scouting those fields so you are prepared if you need to make a fungicide application. So once again, CropWatch is a great resource for you to get some information on what's happening in the area. And then, of course, we have those wonderful weeds. So guides on how to identify those common weeds that we're seeing in Nebraska, everywhere from those annuals to those perennials. But we can't forget the importance of that soil and soil health and the nutrients and the fertilizers that we have in there. So there's also references and information on how do I actually conduct a soil sample. If you've never done one, to know what your soil nutrients are like. and what are those fertilizer recommendations that we currently have. And maybe you're going to be doing a project that's looking at different fertilizer rates. So knowing what's already in the soil is really helpful to know if your treatment is having some major impacts or not. Also, Irrigation 101, for those of you that are doing center pivots or canals, gravity irrigation, at Irrigation 101 goes through the basics, the history of irrigation, tips and ways that we manage that irrigation water to assure that we're putting enough on, but not necessarily putting on too much and wasting our resource. And then this is always a fun one, trying to predict when that last irrigation schedule should occur. So, and just a total random fact, Nebraska actually has the most irrigated acres in the US. So irrigation is very important for us, and lots of resources can also be found on water.unl.edu. The keeping it real, so looking at those economics, on the crop watch on the U side, there are links to the Nebraska crop budgets that are very nice. Their Excel sheets are already filled out. So all you have to do is plug in your numbers to take a look on how you are comparing on your production compared to other standards. And then we also have that Excel sheet online so you can plug in your own numbers. And Erin is absolutely right. We want to keep it real, and we want to know, is this really going to be a practice that we want to put into production into our facility, on our farm? Are we going to make money? If we're not going to make money by doing it, there's, it might be the best idea in the world, but at the bottom, at the end of the day, economics is still going to be the player on it. And this is Brady's favorite area, the careers. There's so many careers in agriculture for opportunities. So in your in your packet, you'll be getting more information about different career paths you can take directly related to agriculture. Please keep in mind, even though you're not farming, there are so many careers in Nebraska that are directly related to agriculture, even if you're not physically farming. Everything from bank loan manager to the research scientists on campus looking at creating new corn genetics that can withstand hail better than what we have right now, or can handle drought. So definitely take a look at those career options, because there are so many, and the majors that are available for you at the University of Nebraska. Also, lots of other resources that you can find online. CropWatch, ways that we can calculate yield before we actually run it through the combine or through the weigh wagon. These are really fun to do. You can take a look to see if your predictions are actually really close to what your actual data is, which is a lot of fun. And remember, innovation begins with you. You guys have some great ideas, and you can keep moving forward with that.
Thanks, Amy. And like Erin said, we do have our on-farm research network. And one of the really amazing things to me has been some of the teams that did the random replicated plots. We've been able to use that with even like our adult network. So that's a pretty cool thing. So, if you aren't quite sure what to do or want other ideas, feel free to check that out. As far as thinking about some of those innovative practices, this is kind of the actual definition of innovation, but it's, coming up with new ideas, products, collaboration services that can be used. So obviously it has to be practical, and, think about, if you don't have something in mind, what are some current trends locally, maybe state, nationally, maybe even thinking outside of the box internationally. So it's kind of up to you. So one of the things, if you don't have an idea, could be sitting down with your team and just write out all kinds of ideas, practices, and kind of figure out what that might look like. One of the other things is, thinking about, what are some obstacles that might arise? Certainly making sure that you remember and mark them out really well. So when you harvest, what is what. those are some of those obstacles that, even some of our adult on-farm producers might have. And of course, we can't do anything about the weather, but just think about, what the success of your project will look like. And let's see, I think we are ready for Lauren now.
Thank you, Brandy. Y'all can hear me okay, right? Okay, cool. My internet's being really wacky, so I apologize if I cut out. I want to pose a question to you before I introduce a new component to the Innovative Youth Corn Challenge. Can you guys either type in the chat or unmute, however you feel comfortable? Tell me what you think of when you hear the words agricultural literacy, the term agricultural literacy. What things come to mind? Understanding agricultural production, yes. Knowing where our food comes from, absolutely. Yes, communicating agricultural practices, hows and whys for sure. Hows and whys are very good in the agricultural literacy realm to discuss with consumers. Anything else we can think of? I'm gonna guess not.
Maybe everyone's had a long day like myself, but if you're something comes to mind, even if you're an advisor or sponsor, feel free to type it in as you think about it.
Otherwise, I mean, Brandy, we're good to continue on. And that's okay, because I'll tell you what the definition of agricultural literacy. An agricultural literate person understands how the agricultural industry works, not just where food comes from, but who grows it, the effects that it has on the economy, environment, technology, lifestyle, and the relationship to livestock. This can define basic terms to deepen and complement understanding of the definition of agriculture. And this is a definition that I found from the American Farm Bureau Foundation. So I think this is a really good rounded way of explaining what an agriculturally literate person, how they think, basically. And if you look here at this visual, you'll see that they even took it a step further and they made pillars. Oh, sorry, Brandy. Yep. Oh, you're fine. You'll see that they have pillars here, dividing. And the overarching idea is understanding the intersection between agriculture and society. So you'll see the relationship between ag and the environment, between food, fiber, and energy, animals, lifestyle, technology, and economy, because agriculture touches all of those areas of everyone's lives, no matter if they're in the agricultural field, if they live in it, if they work in it. Everybody in every way touches agriculture every day. So someone has that foundational knowledge when they have the definition of agriculture, they understand the history, taxonomy, can identify it, and are aware of production and how it operates. And new this year, we are going to make sure that all of us are doing our part to increase agricultural literacy. And why should we care about this? Well, as industry producers, we need to be doing everything that we can to make sure that consumers, that the general public understand agriculture to the level of which was mentioned previously, because like I said, every day people are touched with agriculture. People who are very far removed from the farm, they are making decisions today where they are not as informed as they should be. And these decisions they're making impact the industry, they impact us. And the hope with agricultural literacy, increasing it, is that people understand and they make better informed decisions. Here are a few visual examples that I found that I think accurately represent agricultural literacy. So you'll see the bottom left corner, Nebraska Corn Board always has really good infographics that they use. That's how they will share the data that they have. That's how they share different information they want not only their farmers to see, but consumers to see as well. So this one is how Nebraska corn is used. Pie chart there with percentages of how the animals that eat corn, the uses for corn, types of it. So an infographic is one effective way of a visual ag literacy piece. You also will see at the top, millennial farmer. If anyone has heard of the millennial farmer, he's a very wide known person. He has strong social media, posts just about his operation, posts about issues. So another example of ag literacy is using your social media, your voice in that way that you have the reach, that you can reach more people talking about your story. Another example is this cute little corn A to Z that the Nebraska Farm Bureau has that they put together to explain corn throughout the alphabet. But they also use it in a variety of different lessons that they teach. So this would be considered ag literacy as well. And then here, I would encourage you guys, we don't have to listen to them right now, but Nebraska Corn puts out really, really good videos and podcasts where they are talking about their operations. They're talking about current issues. The one in the bottom right, you'll see is a virtual field trip series they did this year that they had their members take their phones, just super easy, around their farms and describe what their operation was like, kind of hitting buzzwords of people talking about GMOs, organic, things like that, making sure that they're just upfront and honest about what's going on in their operation. So I would really encourage you to, on your own time, go to the Nebraska Corn YouTube page and find these because they're really, really good. So we would like you all to take what you know about agriculture and what you're doing with the Innovative Youth Corn Challenge and create an ag literacy piece. So it could be, I saw a number of the FFA programs have Facebooks. So maybe you and your team lead are putting together a Facebook page separate, showing everybody what's going on. Maybe you're going to make an infographic. Maybe you do what Nebraska Corn did this past spring and make a virtual field trip and just walk around your plots and show people what you're doing. These are the criteria points that we will be looking at when we are awarding these Ag Lit Awards. So you want a clear relationship connection to society, making sure that someone who doesn't know anything about the farm can identify with it. So saying the corn, the different uses, how it touches their lives, for example, the originality of the piece. So you could make, like I said, infographic, video, podcast. You could have a booth maybe at your county fair. You could maybe lead a workshop for your local extension office. The quality will also be considered, different quality of video, social media, for example. Timely and current. It also should be research informed. We want to make sure that we're putting accurate information out there, make sure that we are leading people in the right direction. The life of the product, meaning, is this going to withstand 10 years? Is this going to withstand 15 years? Or is this kind of just going to show everybody, here's what I'm doing this summer with my project, and that's it. We kind of want to make sure it has a little bit more life, that we can use this for more years. And then, of course, spelling and grammar is important as well. And you'll see at the bottom, bonus points. If you have an agricultural literacy piece, for example, you make a video and you put it on Facebook or YouTube. If you have over 20 people interact with you on that, either viewing it, sharing it, commenting on it, for example, you get 2 points. And then for anyone that gets over 50 people, you would get 5 bonus points for that. The winner will receive $300. Similarly to in the other awards, the intention is to put that money back towards their program. Maybe if you end up really liking ag literacy, you are wanting to do a little bit more with it in your program, you could purchase a camera or iPads or something so you can further this project. You should submit this with your report, all the other reports that have already been discussed, and the winner will be recognized at the Corn Challenge Banquet. Yes, I really like puns, so I had to just put that one in there. Sometimes I think it's a gift and a curse at the same time.
Yeah, I love it.
And real quick, some tips and tricks for how to maybe think about your ag literacy piece. Make sure you're citing your sources. Look for a .org or a .edu when you're finding those sources. Consider conducting an audience analysis. Who are you trying to reach? Do you want to reach youth, little Clover kids? Do you want to reach farmers who are 50 plus? Do you want to reach nurses for whatever reason? So looking at age, career interests, their backgrounds. There's a website called Canva that is very easy to use. It is free. You can make infographics on there. There's a few different ideas I just kind of put up there for you to think about. You could make a corn crop calendar, what your yields are, and then finally what you do with them, things that the consumer cares about, what a planter or a combine does, things about pesticides, insecticides. It is up to you. Be creative with this. You could also lead a summer workshop, as I said, have a booth at your county fair. If you do end up taking pictures or videos, always make sure that you do a landscape. So that's turning your phone lengthwise, making sure you're taking pictures that way. Videos and audio, just be sure you're in a quiet place. Your camera is still, yeah, and that's some tips and tricks there. And then just a couple things I wanted to point out. If you do make infographics, make sure they have a focus. These are fine. The one on the left is just a little busy. So making sure that you pick good infographic pictures when you're using it, the letters and the font and everything, it's just kind of hard to see. And immediately when I look at this, I just kind of feel overwhelmed. I don't really want to look at all of it because it just turns me off. The one on the right is good. It has a focus for the county itself, but I wouldn't necessarily consider it ag literacy. It's more of a data that people are sharing. So maybe consider adding what your county is doing with this in the agricultural industry. And try and avoid, I know the bottom left probably wouldn't be one that any of us would share, but the bottom left, try and make sure you're using fact. As I said, it's important to have research informed fact. Avoid using opinions in your agricultural literacy piece. Trying not to say a specific state it has the best corn. I don't know, for example. Make sure that you're avoiding opinions. The corn yields graphic there is very good. It's good data. It's not enriching. It's not teaching anyone really anything. That would be someone for farmers to look at to see kind of what's going on. Our goal is to reach the consumer, that they're learning something. And then the bottom one, on its own, I think it was supposed to be a cover slide or something, but I found the image just floating around. You could use that, like I said, as a cover slide on its own. It's not as enriching as I'd hope it to be. If you used it in social media, you could then complement it with some information about each of those pictures there. And if you need any help or advice or want me to take a look at something, if you think something might be a good idea, but you're not quite sure how to get there, please don't hesitate to reach out. I love doing things like this. I have a lot of knowledge about it, background. So write my email and my office phone down and give me a call.
Awesome. Thank you, Lauren. You can tell we're really excited about this piece. And, you know, you could even do kind of a cool, fun little, documentary or something of what modern corn production looked like. The point is, like, use your imagination, and we're really super excited about this. And I know that the Corn Board is as well, because they've got a lot of awesome ag literacy pieces too. So I'm very excited about that new addition. For for those of you that have been in the program in the past, this is taking place of the Sustainability Award, which we went and looked at the field to market tool, and it's kind of a cumbersome tool, especially for youth to maybe complete. So we just thought this might be a better direction to go. So just again, reminder of some resources. We do have our Facebook page, our website with the crop watch. And again, we hope to be in person again and have our banquet. This last year, even though we were virtual, we did have the teams kind of create a quick little PowerPoint of your program and kind of what you did. And it was really good to kind of see what teams are doing. So kind of think about that and, take lots of pictures because those really kind of enhance not only presentations if you are going to do that, but also when you submit your final report, sometimes pictures can really kind of help show some of those things. So we also hope you're going to network with some UNL faculty. One of the things we did this last year kind of overlapped a little bit with the youth crop scouting competition, which is another program, but all of you would be great candidates for participating in that. But we did an Ask an Agronomist session kind of in sometime in mid to late July, if I remember that. And that would be kind of another good way to get some more pieces of information. So we have set a lot of information out there to you all. One of the other pieces we forgot to put in the presentation was that another cool opportunity we have is kind of the mentoring component. So this has been something we've been wanting for the past few years, and this year it's going to come to fruition. So the UNL agronomy team or club has, they're kind of in the process of figuring out how we can maybe assign one of those members to one of the teams just to kind of help keep everyone on track and provide any other help or guidance that we have. So that's something that we're kind of working on in progress based on locations and everything else. So Erin, Amy, Lauren, anything else that we forgot? Otherwise, feel free to type in the chat box, unmute yourself. What questions do you have for us? We put a lot of information out there.
Hi, Brandy. Katie Alexander. I do have a question.
Yeah.
So there's basically 3 different contests in this. Am I correct? So it's going to be highest yield compared to county average, and then innovation. So how you did your research, and then the ag literacy. Is that correct?
Yep. And then also one we kind of always throw in there was extra mile award. So yeah, that's a great question. So and we have first, second, and third place based on the yield with your county average. Then we have the innovation award. So it's kind of how innovative was it? What was the process you used to come up with your test? And the X Mile award is usually given to a team. Just tell with the reports and stuff that maybe they did a lot of crop scouting. Maybe they did the economic analysis. It just kind of seems that who really put a lot of time into it. So maybe they didn't have a yield, and maybe they got hailed out, but they still continued and stuck with it. So if they still continue to get that data, that's an award. And then again, the ag literacy piece is something new this year too.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
We had a question in the chat then about how many acres of corn. So I think the minimum we have is 2 acres. So 1 acre at least of the check plot, and then 1 acre of your challenge. That doesn't mean more isn't better. If you have multiple, you could do a bigger block of each, but the minimum would be 2 acres total.
I would also say one of the things we're kind of working on, and just based on the timing of when the Corn Board announced their grants and all of that kind of thing. We also are considering, like, if there's some kind of a citizen scientist type of project that you want to work on. So for example, something potentially, not sure if it will get funded or not, but something potentially happening is a citizen scientist project where one of our entomologists is wanting youth to help come up with some insect traps. And so that's kind of a citizen scientist project, thinking that, what a normal citizen or youth can help provide some practical information to solve a problem. And so while that would be more for 2022, if any of you really want to figure out some way that you can connect with the extension educator, extension specialist, assistant, agronomist or something by helping collect some data or something, we're totally open to that. And we provide a couple bonus points as long as we have that kind of discussion and dialogue of what that might be. So we're just really excited. We think some of these new things we've added and will be really valuable, and I'm happy to have Lauren on our team. She does have a lot of background within the kind of ag literacy piece and the mentoring component as well. So again, hopefully all of you will get assigned to agronomy club member. That's kind of our hopes, what we're working for, and just someone to kind of check in, say, hey, how's it going, that kind of thing. And please always reach out to us. And we never know what Nebraska weather is going to do. So if you're still harvesting in December or something, we sure hope that doesn't happen, even though we say we'd like the reports in by December 1st. Or maybe data got having a hard time getting it getting it off those cards and stuff, reach out to us, because we are very flexible. So that's it. Yep, sorry, there's my dog. Someone drove by. So that's all that we have for you. So sorry. So yeah, if there's any questions, just please feel free to reach out to us. And again, thank you all so much. And those kits should be in the mail. I would think probably Friday, if not Friday, Monday. We're waiting on one more item to come. It should come tomorrow. So look for those. Oh, and the other cool thing we have is some plot signs for you all to have. So post your signs proudly to say that this is Innovative Youth Corn Challenge. Again, take pictures, create some buzz on social media, and have fun and learn. So thanks all for joining us, and we'll share the recording on our website tomorrow. So thank you all. You can end the recording.